Good evening. It's Wednesday night. It's 7:30, which means it is the Freedom Fast, and this is episode 7, where Simone and I are absolutely delighted to welcome Chris and Jesse. And you're going to let me just mute the watch page. I always do that. 1 second. And you're going to share some big ideas tonight. We're absolutely thrilled to have connected with you, and Simone has had lots of conversations with you over the last few weeks, and she's been working really tirelessly behind the scenes. We're delighted to have you with us. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure.
No, you're welcome. So why don't we kick off with how you guys met and what's got you into this subject, and perhaps introduce the subject that you'd like to talk about tonight.
Okay, Chris, do you want to answer that, or should I answer that?
You can go ahead, brother.
Cool. So thank you guys so much for having us. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It is so awesome to be able to connect with like-minded souls that really want to be able to finally get rid of evil and tyranny. My name is Jesse Perez Casanova. I started a YouTube channel by the name of The Casanova Show. And I was just almost like, strangely enough, guided to do whatever it is that I did, and I'd come across information regarding the Magna Carta, and I had made a video in regards to the Magna Carta because I really was looking for a solution like everyone else here. And I made that video and it went viral, fortunately enough. And at the same time, before I'd made that video, I'd created an organization called Earth United. Now, at the time, I wasn't exactly sure what the exact purpose of Earth United would be, but I knew that I wanted to create an organization that could create unity and that could help bring together solutions. Now, fortunately enough, exactly what I want was exactly what I got, because after the Magna Carta video, a wonderful man in the bottom left screen, as you can see, Christopher James, he had reached out to me. He reached out to me and we connected straight off the bat, and he had absolutely blown apart my mind with all this beautiful common law knowledge and explaining to me how it is exactly that the system works. Now, Chris didn't only do that, but he presented a remarkable solution, a solution that truly has the power to finally provide true freedom for us and to finally put an end of all this madness that has been perpetuated over centuries and centuries. So that's basically the story. And up until this point, we've been working really hard, playing to our strengths. Chris has unbelievable knowledge. I've learned so much along this journey. I feel so empowered because of this knowledge I've learned. And we've done our best to build an infrastructure, a platform that can act as a nexus point to allow other individual experts, other advocates and organizations to plug into, to connect their audiences, to connect their networks, to act as a support ecosystem, but most importantly, to support this mission that we're going to be speaking about today, which is a solution that we're talking about. And along the way, Simone had joined us, and we are the Three Musketeers as it stands right now. And we are working so incredibly well together. The progress we've made is absolutely unbelievable. And, you know, you can only work so hard. And I truly believe that the rest is up to God. And it seems as though we have both on our side: exceptionally hard work, remarkable individuals, high-level intelligence, high-level character, and as well as the universe doing its best in every single instance to meet us halfway. And that's basically the story up until now.
Wow, I'm actually shivering at the minute. That is so inspiring. And I agree with you, Jesse. When I came across this knowledge, it was about eight years ago. And in the UK, some people were doing some small things, and I thought that's amazing. But we need a bigger action plan than this. And you know, Simone's come alive to this, and we've spoken to some great people on this channel too. So I'm curious to know now, Chris, why don't you introduce yourself and how this chemistry got going? What happened for you from your perspective?
Well, thank you very much again for having me. And again, hello, everyone out there who's watching this. I hope you will share these communications that we're doing now far and wide with the world, because that is paramount right now. Mm-hmm. How I came out into this is that my journey began a long time ago, and I'll keep it short. I was in the music and entertainment industry. I was a recording engineer, producer. I'm a writer and artist. That's what my craft and my love was for this world. And at that time, back in 2001, I started bringing I guess you could say, an entity forward into this world. This is before there was a YouTube or a Facebook. I believe Facebook was around, but there was no YouTube. And I put together an initiative that was going to launch in 10 countries. It was $1.5 billion. And it was going to truly, not only, as we all know, the music industry has been corrupted over years when you hear from all the old artists, how they got ripped off. So that was my foray into this, is that I was going to bring this incredible new business model forward that was going to change and revolutionize the music and entertainment industry worldwide. And today there's still nothing like it. I would blow the doors off YouTube and Google, and we know how big they are. That's not an I love me thing. It was a fact. But what happened is that this was my life's work that I worked up to. I'd never been married. I wanted to have children on that, but I also knew that this required my attention 24/7. And if I tried to enter in a relationship, it was only going to cause heartbreak for me and destroy, obviously, the person that I loved. And God knows what my children would have looked like, and wound up, because I would never have been there to help raise them. So what happened was in 2003, as this initiative was moving forward, Microsoft and Cisco partnered with me right away. For those of you that know the movies Lord of the Rings, a man by the name of Alan Lee, he's the conceptual artist, an absolute brilliant man. He's won many Oscars for his work on that. He provided tens of thousands of documents to Cam Jackson when they were doing these movies. That's what all the visual, digital stuff you see. That's what the conceptual foundation came from, was from this incredible man's artistic talent. So he flew all the way specifically to me here in 2003. And then what happened was, what blew me away is, at the same time, Brad Pitt was working on Troy, and Warner Brothers had contacted Alan and asked him to do Troy, and he turned it down. And yet he reached out to me and he said, Chris, I will do what you're going to do here, because I was bringing forth an initiative. Again, I was using the vehicle of the music and entertainment industry to bring forward an incredible truth and light to the world. It had nothing to do with common law. I knew nothing about that stuff back then. It was just simply me understanding that something was very wrong in the world, and we need to bring something forward outside of the current system that's, basically controlling everyone's consciousness. So what happened was that the curtain got pulled back for me in 2003. I didn't know anything about financing, and that's when, I guess you could say, I came face to face with this first entity of this evil that we're dealing with right now in this world that's behind everything. I won't say the word, of the pandemic, that the big lie that's going on, but it all starts with the central bankers. Once I learned the creation of money, I realized that my work was never going to come to fruition after 30 years. It's devastating. So then I got into financial, I got into commercial lending, started working with all levels of law enforcement. And that's when I started really seeing massive fraud against my fellow man, especially elderly. And then from there was a pension case that my father was involved in, I went to a top lawyer here in Canada. And at the end of the day, because of my work, it was a $240 million claim class action. It was going to be the largest one ever that was launched in the history of Canada. And then through that, there was a massive corruption, and they threw me under a bus. And my father was murdered in the context of all of this. To prevent me from going forward. So on his deathbed, I made a promise to him that I was going to hold these people accountable. So get to simply to your audience here, so they understand who the man is before them, is that the promise that I made to my mother and father to protect them and to correct all this wrong and harm wound up becoming an incredible gift for this world. Okay, I came across a truth. This is not, one of, I know people are always, they're tossing around, we've got all these solutions and stuff that we can do. What is being brought forward here today? It's not it's not only a solution, it is the solution right now, because we have something that's very disturbing that's going on in our world, which we'll get into. But that's ultimately the man that's in front of you here today. Is that I've been kicked around. I've been helping people in the court systems that are out there in Canada for the last 10 years, I guess you could say, going in and out of courts. And it's got to the point now that when I'm moving these common law claims, the judges run from the bench, or they will, after we leave the courthouse, they will remove my property, which is a very important word we'll talk about later here, from that public courthouse, and thus preventing we the people from having access. So this trespass that occurs at birth that we're going to talk about here today is the most important truth that our entire world needs to see right now. Because why? Every single man and woman had this trespass occurred against them. And Jesse and Simone, I just want to say, have been a gift from God to me. When I reached out to Jesse, I was just simply looking to this man because of his talents I saw in his video productions, which were phenomenal. But I didn't know the back end of Jesse, which was bad on me, because normally I vet people before I look at them. But again, I was just simply reaching out to this man because I wanted to see if he would work with me to also create videos with my website that was just launching under common law to bring that truth forward. But then something absolutely beautiful happened. And Jesse shared with me what he'd been working on, and then I got to know the power and the knowledge that this man has as well, and his capacity. And it's been a perfect fit. We've had a few bumps along the way, but that's okay. That's to be expected. I mean, you're looking at three people here that we are going to save this world. We're not going to do it alone. Millions are going to rally around us, but I'm blessed to have Jesse and Simone here with me today. And thank you, Robin, for having us.
Oh, you're so welcome. That is so humbling. What a story. And yes, when you're faced with adversity and that seed of, I need to put this right is planted, then we hope there's an absolute legion of forests for you, because that's where it needs to go. So, Simone, why don't you tie this together and sort of introduce how you got involved and what was the seeds of your ideas with this, and tell us about your connection here.
Well, firstly, I'd like to say welcome to all our guests and viewers watching, and it's nice to see you again. It's nice to be with you again. It's nice to bring you yet again another live with wonderful people from around the world who are creating ripples of hope and solutions that are absolutely necessary for this world right now. So I want to get into the common law stuff with you guys in a bit, just simply because not many people are aware of it. I currently have about 700 people learning common law right now in a group who is looked after by a number of wonderful volunteers, people who are just giving up their time effortlessly just to get people on the beginning steps of common law, because it's so different to what we've been conditioned to believe. It's so different to what we face in the reality. It's so different to how everything operates in just standard in the world, in our reality. So to actually bring people back to the simplicity of common law, it is absolute common sense, but it's alien to a lot of people still. So just getting them onto the beginning stages of it, it would be good for you to start explain about this fraud that you're talking about and how it's a fraud against men and women, why it's a fraud, and how we've got to where we've got to, because I want to take people on that journey, guys. People aren't aware of birth certificate fraud, or constructive fraud is the term you call it, or criminal fraud I've heard it called. So why don't we start there, because people know who I am, and people who are following Event 202 will know that I'm connected to Earth United and we're working together behind the scenes. They won't know how much work is being put behind the scenes, and they won't necessarily know where we are with everything. So why don't we start with the simplicity and the beauty of common law to help people? Chris.
Okay. Well, I guess the first response that I would put to that is, when you use the word law, it's intimidating to people, right? So I don't teach the common law first. The first thing that I teach is I explain to everybody, in order for you to know who you are, you first have to learn who you are not. Okay. So this is how simple. When the truth is present, I say this in all my communications, it's not a slogan, but when truth is present, very few words are required. So I'm going to explain to everybody very simply here in common language, okay, what's occurring. And this doesn't matter if you live in the UK, because I know there's a very rich history there of what's going on, or if you live in Canada or anywhere else in the world. We're going to start right from the beginning. When we come into this world as a man or a woman, do we have any papers attached to us when we come out of our mother? No. Okay, you're born free, right? You have been given free dominion over the earth, and it is our duty to protect it. So you need to understand that's the very first jurisdiction that every man and woman come into. There's no papers that bind you to anything. Remember that. And this is the level at which we are at now. This is the place that people must come back to understanding the power of when you stand in that capacity, the jurisdiction that establishes your power in accessing a public courthouse in an unbelievable manner. So the first thing that happens is, on my website, awarriorcalls.com, you learn of this trespass. These are important words you need to understand. As Simone and Jesse are also learning, and everyone else around the world, it doesn't go past 3 words. The first word is trespass, the second word is property, and the last word is who. And when you go to my website, again, it's not an I Love Me thing, but this is where all this knowledge has been placed for everybody. I created that site for the world to go there to get this foundational truth simply understood first. Once you understand who you are and the trespass that's occurred against you with that birth certificate, then you understand how you access and how you talk with and deal with all of these people that are acting for service corporations that are called governments in this world. Remember, when you're in the level that we talked about, when you first come into this world with no paper attached, that's how you're communicating to everyone else now in this world. Okay, so it doesn't matter if they're a policeman, a politician, a lawyer, their acting roles stay out of it. You're speaking directly to that man or woman, because people need to understand a simple fact in law. Okay, let's understand the difference between legal and lawful. Legal only applies to incorporated, that which is incorporated. Full stop. People don't know that. They are always hearing, oh, this is illegal, or this is, I need to go see a lawyer. Lawyers only deal in the legal world, and that is a jurisdiction of admiralty law out in the sea. Lawful applies to that which is unincorporated, and that is only a man, a woman, or we the people. Okay, that's the jurisdiction that we came into this world at. That's the power of that. We are the creators of everything else that occurs in this world after that fact. So what happens is that when people are going into these courthouses, they are not being looked at. We all believe we're going into that public courthouse. We're walking in as a man or woman. We believe we've got a man acting as a lawyer that's representing us, but he's representing you as something else. And you go, well, what's that he's representing us as, Chris? Well, remember, they only deal in the legal world. They deal in that which is incorporated. We go back to now that first trespass that occurs against every man and woman. And when that happens, that's when they are creating a corporation, a legal person, a legal persona. Okay? And the service corporations that are in place, these governments, they claim that as their property. And so it's like a franchise to them. Even though you see your name in all capital letters or upper and lower in their system, any ID that they've given you, that is not your property. Okay? It's a fraud that's being committed against your consciousness, and it's corrupted because you've never been shown this foundational trespass that occurs at birth. That's why you go and look at your bank account. All bank accounts have everyone's name in all capital letters. That's how these governments can come in and take money out of your bank account. Recent client that I was just working with here, this is all part of this huge truth we're bringing forward. It's like, they can't help but fall over themselves, all these people that are within this evil setup. So one gentleman that I was working with, we had him go back to his bank account with his correct ID, once you understand who you are. And we went into the bank and we wanted them to change the title on the bank account because he knew that wasn't his account. Well, the branch manager, she was ignorant of all this stuff. And what did she do? She's tried putting it in upper and lower case, the name. This is what you learn about the trespass that happens at birth. What's going on? Computer system wouldn't handle it in the bank. She says, this is odd. It won't let me put anything else but capital letters. See, when you're capitalized, in law, you lose your capacity as a man or a woman. They're capitalizing on you. They're diminishing your capacity. So it's very powerful when you understand when you are in that capacity as a man or woman and you're acting like that. Nobody has the right to deny you access to a public courthouse. Nobody has the right to deny you moving your claim in court against another man or woman. See, all the court systems today are moving claims against corporations. You might see your name in all capital letters, but it's corporations. It's all fiction. It's all fraud. So the lawyer again, and a lawyer back to that, he represents you. And you say, well, what is he representing me? I thought he was representing me. No, he represents you as that fiction that was created from that trespass that occurs at birth. Right. And that's why the bar, again, the lawyers at the bar have also been lied to. Many of them do know this truth and they will be held accountable. So that's what the common law ultimately means, is that it's the unwritten law. You know the difference between right and wrong in your heart as you come into this world. You know that you cannot trespass against another man or woman. There's that word. And you cannot administrate another man or woman's what? Property without right. Only a man or woman has rights in this world. When you act as a police officer, a doctor, or any other realm, you have duties and obligations. You've diminished your capacity because you're no longer, even though you see a man wearing that outfit, be it a judge, a lawyer, a police officer, but you know that they're acting. And finally, I'll just say this. You need to understand that these people that are wearing these black robes, they're from a society to which we not belong. They're actually acting in a capacity where they're supposed to be providing fair and good duties of service to we the people. It's a public courthouse, not a private courthouse. So when a man or woman appears, they're supposed to recognize that we are the man or woman that's before them and move our court forward. And that's when it comes back to the paperwork. The paperwork is always wrong, that people have been trained. They do not understand. You never use legal forms. So it's a really simple understanding. And first you learn what happened against you at birth. And once you learn that, then you can understand the system that's been laid over us. And you see clearly the solution moving forward ahead.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So this is a relatively new thing. Like when I say relatively new, it's in relatively recent history that this has happened to us, right? I mean, I've done a little bit of research into how this has happened and how we've become so deceived and ensnared within this system, Chris. I mean, when you say it's not just about the paperwork, it's about the words we use. It's almost it is really spiritual. I find it's a very spiritual thing. Our birthright has basically been usurped from birth. That birthright belongs to us. It's God-given. And then, like you say, the trespass, trespass is a sin against your brother and sister. It's so...
Well, Simone,
Yeah.
Definitely correct in bringing it back to the spiritual aspect of things, because when you look at this nature of the system, you understand that it's built upon three core components, which is religion, commerce, and politics. So, when you actually understand how the system works and who's actually able to administer divine rights, it goes back to the Pope. And as Chris so eloquently puts it, all roads lead back to Rome, whether you're following the money or you're following the jurisdiction that you're being placed into, no matter which court proceeding you're within any democratic nation around the world. Now, this knowledge is extremely beautiful because, as Chris said, it has the ability to correct everyone on this planet's consciousness. And this is something that really needs to be thought about quite deeply, is the fact that when you're born into this world, what's essentially happening is you're not only getting turned into a product of maritime admiralty law, which is converting you into a product of a private corporation, which you go ahead and call your government, which is essentially a service corporation masquerading as a government. But on a subconscious level, there's really something damning happening right now, because each child is being born into a world where they are being fed the illusion, thanks to their parents, their forefathers, and everyone before them, that anyone has the ability to exert any control, ownership, and jurisdiction over them. And as Chris said, common law is the unwritten law. And in my opinion, it simply enforces the fact that nobody has any ability to have any control, ownership, and jurisdiction over you. And because they're doing this without our consent, without our full understanding, and because they're continually coercing us into the system on a regular basis, this is a crime that doesn't just happen at birth, it continues for the rest of your life. It's really something that when you realize it, it really does give you the ability to understand that the whole system is a lie. You are interacting on a daily basis, whether you're looking at the judicial system, whether you're looking at legal policies, statutes, acts, or the fact that these governments are going ahead and ordering you around, getting you to pay taxes, getting you to pay speeding fines, so forth and so on. These are all optional. But unfortunately, as you said, we've been trained to be ignorant over time as this language has been used against us. And swords, you put an S before words, you get swords, because words are really, really dangerous. And this does go all the way to Rome, and it does go all the way to the Catholic Church. So there is definitely something spiritual happening here, because our spiritual consciousness is attacked at birth.
Yes, thank you. Do you know, I love working with you guys. I must tell everybody, it's been an absolute joy to work with both Chris and Jesse behind the scenes. We have so many conversations like this. And I'll tell you what, it's so, I'm so proud of you, Jesse, because even though I've only known you a short while, you have really run with this. Like, you've picked it up. And initially, I know you struggled with the words, but you've just like nailed it. You fully have got it, and you've gone behind, even further, and you looked into the past, because you understand about the esoteric nature of it all, which I think, in my personal opinion, is way more important than the physical element. The spiritual has way more implications than the physical that we're living. We're living it in the physical realm, but actually it's going to have an eternal consequence, which is spiritual.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because every single judge has a black robe. The priests have black robes. Rabbis have black robes. College graduates have black robes. And the reason as for that is because these are all institutions existing within this corrupt system that is operating within the law of the sea, the law of commerce, the law of money. So it's not personal, it's just business. You're a slave, but don't worry, it's not personal. It's just business at the end of the day. And you are a product. And that's why when you get a death certificate, because that is the private corporation which is actually able to go ahead and get insurance for this product that's unfortunately gone ahead and passed away. So you're literally treated like a product. You're born in a delivery room. When products are brought across the sea, they're delivered. The bar is the equivalent of a bank. Banks are on opposite side of a river. Okay, so what do rivers do? They channel commerce. They channel energy. What are you? You're an energetic being. What are you doing? You're using your sweat equity to create energy. What is this pyramid system government doing? They're extrapolating your energy. Through this unlawful conversion, signing you up in a system that you never agreed to in the first place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even just down to the simplicity of, having to get a career and a job and run this whole rat race. We're not free. We think we are free. We're given the illusion to choose a career, to choose our food, to choose a home and where we want to live, and choose our partner, our spouse. But really, the illusion is there. It is just an illusion, because all you're doing is still operating in this system.
False constructs, aren't they? And you get trapped. You don't realize you're getting trapped by all these constructs. So, the more and more we talk to our audience, we go out on the streets, we do activism, we do interviews, we realize that every time a message like this reaches an audience, and we're streaming to 3 audiences at the moment, we know we're hitting new people, because, the UK Rights Group may never have heard, some of the members there may never have heard of this. So we're delighted that you can share to all 3 platforms today.
Yeah.
Why don't you break down some more of the message you wanted to share tonight, Chris? Because there is a big call to action, isn't it? Or Jesse, do you want to do that?
I want to just prelude to Chris. So Chris has put all the puzzle pieces together, and he has provided, in my opinion, which is not an opinion, it's a fact, the only solution. The only solution. Because you're talking about deception for as long as this Babylonian era has been around, for ages. And this has the ability, guys, I'm going to hand to Chris now, but please listen carefully, because what he's about to say has the ability to literally topple these corrupt systems. It literally has the ability to pull the foundation from underneath him. Because what do these systems require in order to exist? Us, the people. Our consent and our continued cooperation. So, Chris, take it away.
Thank you. So like I say, this is very simple when you really understand it, because we're here, the 3 of us here right now, and also Robin and the people around the world that are all now coming to this light that's being put forward. The light is not me or Jesse or Simone. The light is this truth that we're putting out there, and it's important. You need to understand this. It's not about me. It's not about Jesse, Simone, or anybody else. This is about a horrific act that occurred against every single one of us at birth. And once we understand that, then you're going to understand all the pieces that stand above that. My light's going in and out here. But I guess I would just say, right the stage that we're at right now, the reason why this changed for me, that I have to let everybody understand, is that why I am here right now in this moment, it's not about common law. That is secondary. We have a colossal lie right now that is morphed right across this room, because these evil entities like the central bankers, the Pope, the Queen, through all their tentacles, through all their setups they've done for the last 100 years, through all print media communications that are out there today, they've got a lock on it. So they're able to control our governments through their internal system that they have. They're able to control the message as well. So we have right now the entire world being driven by fear. So the only question and the only conversation we should be having is, what is that fear? I won't use the name of it on here because, I guess I can use it on here. It's Duck Duck. It's the COVID-19 lie. Okay. I've got an interview that's happened with Judy Mikovits, who is what we're coming forward as Jesse just said there. This is not an opinion. This is a concrete fact. And if you want to take down and wipe out all the corruption that's in this world while still keeping the infrastructure that we have in place, because as Jesse said, it's our fellow men and women that are working in all these capacities. They have not been given the truth. So they need to be given the truth, and then they also need to be given, unfortunately, quickly, fortunately for our end, is the solution and how it moves forward. Because once they have the truth, within this vast tentacle system of corruption that's out there, the millions of people that work in various levels of government will understand what this trespass has done, and then they will start to correct their internal documents so that their services line up correctly with doing no harm or wrong against a man or woman.
Okay.
So this truth is so powerful. Number one is because we're holding up the mirror from the trespass side that the entire world can relate it to, that everyone has the evidence that they can look at. You go look at the birth certificate that you were given, okay? But the paramount thing right now in this world is not the common law. That's why I have to change gears up. In December, when this whole COVID thing came out, I knew what was going on. For those of us who have been doing research for 20 years, we all knew that they were going to lay this final card down. And for me, it was it was breathtaking, because I actually could feel for the first time this massive evil in this world, not just from the central banks that I learned about years ago, but this massive evil was now coming into the light. It was putting its actions into full force and effect, because this is the last hurrah for them to take down every nation in the world, to take down all the people, and to get this global control that they're looking for. And people that hear of this for the first time, they think that these are conspiracy theories. Go look at the evidence that you have. Look at the knowledge that's being shared with you right now surrounding the trespass that occurred. It's not a conspiracy. It's a fact. So our world right now, and the only thing that matters is fighting. And I mean fighting, I mean come out and ride out with the people to address first and foremost this COVID lie. Because once we show the world that COVID has been a complete lie, then everybody will understand that all these orders and stuff that are coming down, they never should have been doing. And then the people are going to be really angry, and then they're going to look for the solution. And then that's where the common law side comes up. That's when we show everybody, not only have they lied to you about this COVID that's destroying every country in the world right now and killing elderly and killing our children, or at least compromising their consciousness. But what's going to happen is that those people, like the police, are being attacked right now. Everyone, as Simone said, is looking for this way forward. They're looking for a light. And we've provided a very bright light, a very powerful one, that number one, exposes the lie of COVID-19. When the world hears the interview that I've done with Judy Mikovits, there's not an interview like this that people are going to hear. It drills right down on the masks. It drills right down on the tests. It drills right down on where all this lies and deceit came from. Why we have the truth, it's not an I love me thing, is because Judy Mikovits worked for 30 years at Fort Detrick. She worked directly with Fauci. She has the evidence. Remember, we all have the evidence surrounding the unlawful trespass. She has the concrete evidence exposing that this whole COVID pandemic, this coronavirus, is all based on a lie. There was no first round, and there's no second round coming. As we've seen New Zealand just get locked down, they're scared shitless right now, these governments, because they know this truth is popping up everywhere. And that's why, as Simone was so eloquently again saying, that our back-end infrastructure is almost there. And when we come out with this truth, not opinions, this is going to be a shot to the jugular of this evil system that's been here for a long time. And when that happens, we have to make sure that we have millions of people around the world that know who they are and they understand this action that we're taking, because it is the only action. You're not going to be able to do it through a legal system. You're not going to do it with the police, because everybody's all been corrupted their consciousness. We simply need to access that public courthouse, move the claims into it. It's not the paperwork. It's only going to be a couple of sentences. It's the mettle of the man or woman that goes into that public courthouse with all their fellow man and woman outside that all understand why we're there. And we're going to bring that simple truth in, understanding the unlawful conversion, the trespass that happens at birth. And once that one truth is brought in, now it exposes the entire hierarchy above it. You realize that all these people like Boris Johnson, he's just a man that's acting on behalf of a service corporation, just like the health ministers. And this is applicable in every single country. None of them have jurisdiction, which means control over we the people. Not a single thing that they put pen to paper in applies to a man or a woman. And once you understand this, that's when the people are going to wake up. And that's when I truly believe in the next 3 months, we're going to come together en masse. Like, this is historical, as Jesse was talking about. This is of biblical proportions, what we're doing right now. We're doing all the heavy lifting here. And all of us have had a journey different, but our paths have aligned in an incredible way. And every single day, Jesse and Simone and I, we are being rewarded. We're seeing it by the communications that are coming back in and through us. So it's very simple for everyone to know. We've laid the truth out there. It's a very simple process moving forward. But before we can collectively take down this evil, you have to know two things. In your heart, mind, and soul, you have to know who you are, and you have to understand the lie surrounding COVID-19. And once you have those two things together, then you're going to go, Jesse, Simone, and Chris. We are going to join you with the rest of the people in this world around that public courthouse, and they're all going to know why they're there. We're not protesting. Okay, we're gathering to actually bring this truth out into the light en masse in multiple countries. When that happens, wow, it's going to be a glorious moment. And as our intention to share from the moment that are the people on point that you're all going to meet in the next coming weeks here, once the interviews come out, you're going to meet these people that are going to do this in these various countries. They're incredible people, incredible, brave people. They've all got an enormous wrong and harm. That's what I found on the common law side. All these people like Carl Lentz, David Straight that we talked about, Anna von Reitz, Robert S. out of Scotland, and many other people that are coming on board. Every single one of us has had an enormous wrong happen to us in our life. And I mean enormous. And none of us turned away from it. All of us stayed in the trenches and we kept fighting and fighting and fighting and trying to find a way forward. And finally, this truth has finally emerged, right? It's not my truth, but I've just been blessed through the journey and my consciousness that I was able to easily, simply understand this. And then the big part for me was, how do you communicate something so huge simply to the masses? And I believe what we've done with Jesse and Simone here and myself here, We've achieved that now. And now this message is going to start to come out, and watch what starts to happen.
Well,
Wow.
I was just going to say, it's amazing, isn't it, to hear that we are working towards something that is unique and very powerful, as you say. So, are you able to tell us a bit more about what we are working on, Chris? Are you able to give a bit more information on perhaps who we're working with, the countries, and how big this is behind the scenes, perhaps?
Yes,
Not-
Jesse knows more about the back end as far as all the organizations that are coming on board, and I'll just talk for a second on this. Is that you have basically explained to everybody what has to happen. We have really 3 phases. This is how I like to share with people. The first phase is that your consciousness is finally going to be corrected. Okay, this light is going to come to you. It's going to affect your heart, your mind, your soul simply. It's laid out simply and powerfully that your fellow man can understand what has gone on when we're born. That's the first step that has to happen with everyone, the education. The next phase that we move into, that's the phase of bringing in the people that are actually going to be more of the collective, I guess you could, forming, and the collective consciousness coming together, because we're starting to see the pieces that we've put in the background, the facts, the evidence of what is actually going to happen on the day, and meet these people so that you understand that what they're doing, it's going to be universal in every country. And as we move forward to going up to October, Jesse and I are working on, which is going to be called a trilogy. Jesse can speak more to it. And this is what we've decided to release, a very powerful set of 3 movies. Not movies, but very short clips, but they're going to be powerful. And again, they're going to drill down on the 3 things that are going on. First, they're going to learn about the trespass that happens at birth. Then they're going to learn about the whole COVID thing with the evidence and the facts. And then we show them the solution, right? Collectively, how our world's coming together. So at this stage, we want people to just be patient with us, because you're learning about something that's been kept from you, your mother, your father, your grandparents, for people for a very long time. And this is an enormous truth that's being brought forward, and we have a duty, Jesse and Simone and myself, to get it right. And that's why words are important. You only have to use a handful of words and wield them like a sword powerfully in front of your fellow man, and you can take down anyone that's trying to administrate over you or cause you a trespass, wrong, or harm against you. Again, they've got a gun or a stick or something like that and they're beating you up. Well, that's a different story. But we are talking about an honorable act here. We're not gathering around the courthouses to trash them. We're gathering there peacefully, courageously, with love, but more importantly, with evidence and facts that there's an enormous trespass that's occurred against all of us in every single country. If you want to single, itemize it to minimize it to a single country, but it's happened to all of us in every country, and that's going to be the lightning rod.
And this is what I believe Jesse has really created with Earth United, which I will ask you to talk a bit more about in a second, Jesse, is that actually the one thing that really does unite us all around the world is the fact that the same trespass has been committed against every single man, woman, and child. And we all have the evidence in the form of a birth certificate. So that to me is powerful in itself, because you cross borders and you've got language differences, you've got cultural differences, you've got weather differences, you've got law and legal system differences, structural differences, but everyone has been bound into bondage from birth. And that's powerful. So Jesse, why don't you tell us about Earth United and what you're working on and what it looks like now and what it will look like in a few more weeks' time.
Great. I just want to give a quick recap on Chris. So yes, there's a solution, and that solution really, in order for it to be successful, requires unity. Now, this unity is amongst people that are already conscious, already intelligent enough to understand the situation, and smart enough to understand that there really is a diminishing window of opportunity that really requires us to act promptly and intelligently and as smart as ever. Okay, so this gives us the ability to access these public courthouses, and you don't need to understand the full extensive nature of common law. All you need to understand, as Simone just said, is that when you were born, a horrible trespass was committed against you. And this is the same illusion, the same deception, the same trespass that is being used right now to keep you in this illusion that your private corporations, these governments, have any power over you. You have to understand that they have no power over you. And in order to understand that, just understand jurisdictions. Now, if you want to learn more about this, you can head on over to Chris's website, warriorcause.com. Chris's YouTube channel, A Warrior Cause. We'll put it in the comment section. You can head over to my YouTube channel. We have some awesome videos in there as well. I've actually did a video on Sunday where I went through the history of this. It's a real eye-opener when you see the core foundational structure of this deception. It's an unbelievable eye-opener. And this knowledge that Chris is presenting in this light is extremely empowering. So Earth United is primary objective right now is to support this mission. This is the primary mission, okay? So what I'm going to do right now real quick is I'm going to, give me 1 sec, but I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to share my screen. So give me share, blah, 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 give me 1 sec.
Make sure you check the audio, share audio checkbox.
Okay, that's a good idea. Sorry about this, guys. Give me 1 sec. Don't show these tips again. What's happened? Share screen. This should work. Okay, cool. So
when you do that, there's a little checkbox. Make sure you check that one.
Okay, great. So you guys can let me know. There we go. The screen is up. You guys can see it. Okay, so I'm just going to go through. You can go to the Casanova show. There's this video, Origin of Tyranny. And myself and Chris did an unbelievable interview yesterday that goes into so much detail that might not be totally covered here. Another thing that you can check out is Chris's YouTube channel. He does a live stream every Thursday. He's going over, subscribe to both these channels. There's immensely powerful information being shared here. It's so important that you do that. Next thing, just to recap, because this is very important, guys. This is not really about a shout out or anything, but the point is that this information is extremely powerful. And the more people we can share this power with, the better. Because it's going to become a contagious effect, okay? Because when you realize how much power and how many rights you possess as an individual, it's unbelievable. This is Chris's website. He breaks everything down perfectly. He's gone ahead, he's put videos, he's broken down the core foundational knowledge, common law, even his casework. Chris has 20 years of experience within this. He's not only, he's not a researcher, he's a practitioner. Okay, so this knowledge has been applied over and over and over again. And it's extremely powerful because it's allowed Chris to continually step outside of government jurisdiction and to step within law and get proper justice. So let's go ahead, check out earthunited.global. Now, do me a favor. This is so important, guys. If you understand this message and you go ahead and you watch our videos and see what's going on, you're going to really come to understand that this is the solution. There is no other solution. I'm sorry. This is not an I love me thing, an I love Chris thing, so forth and so on. This is us being very practical and understanding that there is a simple solution and we need to keep it as simple as possible. There's no time to convolute things within these convoluted legal systems and so forth and so on. So if you go to this website, you'll see that you can join our network, okay? And our network will allow us to see who understands this knowledge, number one, and who is committing towards actually supporting these common law correspondence specialists all over the world in the selected countries, which we cannot reveal right now. It will be revealed at a later stage. There's some information that cannot be revealed because we don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot. This is very sensitive and it's extremely important. So if you're going over to the website, you can have a read. It breaks it down in written format, very simply. If you want to help, you can head on over to our campaign page. On our campaign page, we've broken down how you can actually support this by sharing these messages, these documents, these videos with your fellow truthers, whether they're individual experts, advocates, or organizations, so that this message can become viral and everyone can speak about it in their own right, just so long as they mention Earth United to direct traffic back here. This is not a marketing ploy. This is us making sure that we can secure these numbers in each country because we cannot pull this trigger without having those numbers secured. We need those numbers secured. The next thing I want to show you is an application that's being developed now. Guys, we're taking this very seriously. There's 3 of us at the core of this, myself, Chris, Simone, and we're doing this properly, okay? Because you need to do it properly. Look at who you're up against. So we're going ahead, we're creating an application. This application is going to also connect you to the network. It's going to help you keep track of our overall campaign progress within regards to us reaching our target in the countries all over the world. It's going to allow you to also connect to chat rooms within your town. It's going to allow you to connect to chat rooms within your city and your country. This is so simple, yet it's never been done before. The aim of the game is unity. We currently now, fortunately, have funded the Android version. We are still currently fundraising for the iOS version. So if you would like to support this application, that's going to allow you to be more connected than ever, going to allow you to keep track of all these videos and communications coming forth from Chris and Earth United, and these unbelievable interviews that some of them we just can't even have on these other platforms because of how explosive they are. So, right, this will evolve going forward into the future to allow nexus points of all different networks, all different organizations, all different solutions. But before we can get towards actually allowing these solutions to come together, we need to secure our freedom. This is why this app's primary focus is towards this mission. So important. Okay, I'll show you one picture, and that's about it, really. We're doing it properly. We're streamlining it as much as possible because we that's it. Yeah. So.
Thank you. Thanks, Jesse. And for those who want to donate to that application, I've just caught an email you sent earlier, Jesse, and I've added that to the show notes. To donate to the application, there's a PayPal donation link. If you want to donate to that, then the link is there.
So I just want to jump in at this point because initially when Event 202 was set up, yes, it is absolutely awesome. And we're so excited because it will make it so much easier to get people linked in locally into their local communities. So as I was saying, when I initially started Event 202 with Dave and everyone else, including yourself, Robin, the one thing I always said, it's not just an event. We can't just stop there. This has to go beyond that. It has to become a movement. And at the time, because this is how I recall meeting you guys. In my mind, I wanted to get people linked in at a local level so they could take local mass action. But it would be like, just imagine a spider web of networks up and down the nation that all served papers to a CEO of a council or to the chief inspector or constable of a local police station. That's what I had in my mind, that it had to be targeted, it had to be coordinated, and it had to be on a mass level to get the attention of the press, to get the attention of these politicians, to get the attention of the people. And it just so happened that as I started to create, I created a database and people were starting to join, and we were starting to map people out. It was at that point that that we connected, me and Jesse connected, and I've got to tell our viewers, because some of you have signed up to Event 202 and you've been waiting a long time for me to put you into a network. And the reason why I haven't done that yet or haven't been able to is because we've been waiting to form that solution behind the scenes, which now we have it as this app that Jesse has lovely demonstrated so wonderfully to you all. And it will be simple. It will have a map of the world, and it will identify where there is networks. When you click on that network, you're going to see how many people are in that network. It can take you through to a chat room to that network that you can join. So you will be with people in your neighborhood. So you will be with people in your community, and you won't feel alone. Because I said to you, Jesse, the main reason why I want to do that is because no one will act on their own. People feel isolated, especially the truther community, those who know the truth about the mass deception and everything that's going on. We don't have anyone to speak to anyway, let alone when there's a lockdown and we're being forced into isolation. So I think that for me, that was a real pivotal thing about this movement, is bringing people together, but on a grassroots ground level, because we've had enough of these corporations and this globalization and this centralization of everything. We need people to come together locally, like family. That's the power. That's the powerhouse.
And so, I mean, Chris has this beautiful light he's presenting to the world with Earth United, but it needs people power. And that's what it is that we're trying to solve. We're trying to solve this people power situation. So, we thought, well, if we can make an application, we can get it soon and keep it in conjunction with this campaign, then great. Let's do that. Let's do whatever we can to help, ensure this. We're literally trying to do anything we can in order to ensure the success of this.
Yes. And I just congratulate you both there. You spend hours, day and night, pouring your heart, your sweat, your blood into this. And I just want to give you my thanks and my gratitude for you both. I appreciate you so much. As I said, it's such a joy to work with you, but I know how hard you work and I know how hard it is. So I just want to bless you both, because you are a blessing to me, and what you're bringing is going to be a blessing to this world. We are blessed to be a blessing to others. So I really believe in this movement, and I really believe
Well,
in
you
this
guys are
truth.
superstars. I mean, the work Simone and Chris have been doing in the background, which we can't even speak to now, because it's, as Chris so eloquently says, it's pushing the cart before the horse. But it's insane. I mean, when I first started this journey with Chris, my mind was exploding. Like, I'll tell you a bit about my background as a programmer, advertiser, video editor, sound engineer, marketer, brander, etc., so forth. And my mind's just like, oh, okay, well, we need about 400,000 people at least. And I'm just like, we have this truth that Chris has. How do we get this out there? How do we do this? How do we get these networks and people? And that's why Earth United was created, because it's really so simple. We're stronger together, hence the name Earth United. So I just wanted to create that platform to get everyone together. And in the beginning, it was like me and Chris were batting heads a bit, because I was panicking a bit. I was panicking because you can work as hard as you want to, but you need a certain element of God and the universe to meet you halfway. You know what I mean? You can be the smartest, brightest person ever, but if doors don't open for you, it doesn't matter, does it?
Why don't you tell us about some of the organizations?
With these remarkable.
Sorry, you cut out a bit. I thought you'd stop talking.
Some of the I think you guys would speak better to that, because I think you guys would speak better to that, because you guys have had some unbelievable conversation. And this just to finish off, I was a bit concerned, but the work Chris and Simone have done, it's just like, wow, it's just all the puzzle pieces are just fitting together. And I'm just amazed at the progress and you guys have in these conversations you guys have with these networks all over the world, because this is looking strong. This campaign is looking strong. It really is. And I'm so happy about that.
Are we
That's
going
awesome.
to get David Icke involved? Do you think?
Well, I definitely do think so. From what I do understand, he is interested and he does support this. And you were at a meeting with a whole lot of people. Hey guys, you guys speak to the conversations you've had. I'm just going to sit silent for now. I think I've said enough.
Well, yes, Jesse's right. Yesterday, I had a very positive. It's just a great meeting yesterday. We were. I don't want to give too much away, but there were very important people there. There were over 18 different groups being representative being represented there.
That's it.
And including very well-known, I'm going to say, news outlets, broadcasters. We've got people, organizations who want to push our truth out when we're ready to press the green button. I'm not sure if I can give names right now, Chris. I don't want to blow anything. So
yeah, let Chris handle that. Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah, I believe our actions are speaking louder than words right now. People are seeing the light through our efforts. With the truth is coming forward to them simply. And that's, as Jesse says, we don't put the cart before the horse. And that's the first step that we've got to realize. We've got to look to our fellow man, show this light to them. Don't allow all this. We've got to quiet their mind and just let them simply understand the simplicity of this truth we're bringing forward. And that's begun now. And that's this light that we're starting to see roll back to us through this incredible connectivity, this seamless connection that Jesse's pulled together here with his software and everything. I'm truly, speechless at what I've just seen the last few days when Simone sent me the link, because, even though we've got the site up, Earth United, I'm so busy doing other things. I never get a chance to go and look and see what's going on. And Jesse and I just talk, or Simone and I just talk. And then Simone sends me these links. And I just have to take a step back for a second. And I really went, wow. I mean, It's really incredible. How they've put this together on their side is succinctly just as powerful as the truth, simplicity, and how they're coming together. We couldn't ask for anything better right now. Now it's just a matter of the people getting on the train, so to speak. As I said to Jesse that left for me a year ago, I built this train. I knew it was bulletproof. Nobody's going to shake this, and this train's going towards the courthouse. I was only going to do this in Canada. But then when I started to talk to Jesse, that's when the lights went off of me going, you know what? There's strength in numbers. Yes, Canada could be a light to the world. We could get this done here on our own, but this is a global problem right now with the COVID-19, and the only way we take it down is with having the actual verified evidence from a woman who has firsthand knowledge right there that's going to come under oath or affirmation, and when she speaks in that courthouse that day, it's going to be transmitted to the world so that everybody sees what's going on. But as we're preluding this new video that's going to come out in the next few weeks, that in and of itself, we know is going to go viral. And that's the first big strike that we're going to do. When I guess you could say, if you wanted to use a parallel, like with the Lord of the Rings, it was when Frodo dropped that ring, all right, into the fire at the end, and the all-seeing eye went like that. It looked. And that's what's going to happen when this video comes out. This capacity, this evil that's out here today, that's got all these systems in place, they're going to see this. And
So
trust me,
what do we need people to do right now, Chris?
they need to first learn about the trespass. It's the most important thing, because once they learn that and they work my way through the site, they'll understand through Jesse, the Earth United, then they will be able to simply put together the pieces right now and us moving forward. And what I would tell everyone is that we have the evidence, concrete evidence surrounding the COVID-19. That's a fact, not an opinion. And that's what we're bringing into the light first, because that's what's attacking everybody right now in this world. Not the court systems and the judicial system. It's this fear that's got a hold of mankind's consciousness. So we have to ride out, and we've got to face that first and foremost and take it out. How do we do that? You do it with Judy's work. We do it through this system that we've put up in the background, and then we've got its back with the common law, because then the hundreds of thousands, millions of people worldwide will understand those three components. So like I say, people have got to be patient with themselves. You've got to love yourself. This seems huge at what you're hearing right now. You hear, oh my God, how can I go up against central bankers and all these powerful people in that? It's very simple. When you know who you are, you understand that that public courthouse that's close to you, it is the most powerful place for you to hold anybody accountable, any man or woman accountable. We're not holding governments, fictions accountable. We're holding the very people that are operating in these service corporations at the top that are committing all of this corruption. And we have the evidence for it. That evidence just needs to be brought into a courthouse once and for all, and not all this crap going back and forth with the mainstream media diluting everybody of what's going on. No, it comes out. That's when the rubber hits the road, and we bring it to the light, like I said, being streamed live on the day in all the countries. And bingo, you watch what happens once that happens. It's a domino effect. Look at that. My light came back. Yeah, the evil doesn't have a chance against this. That's why this one truth, and it is one truth of there's other truths that I'm not going to bring forward now, but this is the most important truth that everybody can simply understand.
And everybody can get involved with, right?
Everybody.
Please, most importantly, head on over to Earth United website, join the Global Alliance, because we are going to be releasing these going forward, this communication or the education. It's so important that you empower yourself with this knowledge. You know, we're marinating the public with this beautiful, empowering. I don't know, that's a bad analogy, but we're marinating the public with this beautiful knowledge, and it's coming closer and closer to the time where we're going to drop this bomb. And this bomb's going to be insane. But if you guys really want to be able to support this and learn more, we've done a lot of videos actually speaking a bit more in detail about the solution at hand. But if you can just go on over, if you're from Canada, particularly head on over to a Warrior Cause. The link's in the description. But globally, Canada, anywhere else, go to Earth United, join our Global Alliance so we can keep you in the loop, because it's so important that we keep you in the loop and you can keep track of this mission. Because, guys, this has to happen this year. And it's going to happen this year. And, you know, some of the developments that have happened in the background are insane. I mean, even in South Africa, in my home country, I mean, me and Chris had a remarkable conversation the other day. I mean, some of the developments are insane. So, Chris, I also want to say, you know, my heart goes out to you, man. You've been, you know, the Service Corporation of Canada absolutely decimated Chris and his family, you know. They decimated him. And it forced Chris, you know, through adversity, we find power. Through adversity, we find strength. And Chris has found the most remarkable strength or power any man or woman can have in this planet, this world, which is really understanding how the system works. and how you are not bound to it, and you have the ability to really truly be able to step out of that. So guys, this is so important. This is so powerful. This is truly biblical. I believe that the Revelations possibly make a reference to this, because in the Revelations it speaks about returning the dead back to life. And that's what's happening, because the moment you're born, you're killed on paper. You're entered into the paper of corporations. Corporations aren't alive, are they? McDonald's is not alive. It's the people that make McDonald's alive. The Canadian government, the system is not alive. It's the people that make the system alive. So, when you understand, as Chris said, who you are, and what rights it is that you truly possess, you understand that these systems have absolutely no power over you. And it's insane. It's truly, truly powerful when you understand that this knowledge gives you the ability to step within your own jurisdiction. Because when you're born, you're not born with any papers. You're not born with a constitution. You're not born with the Magna Carta either. What you're born with is your God-given body, your God-given rights to be free and to explore this world and to live your life in this world peacefully without anybody committing any harm, loss, or injury towards you. And that is true freedom. But we don't know what true freedom is. We don't understand it because we've never, ever experienced it. It's mind-blowing. Try wrap your head around the idea of these privately owned corporations that are all about money within this law of commerce. Try wrap your head around what the world will look like when they are not pressing their thumb on you, and they are not putting all this red tape that's getting in the way of all these remarkable individuals that truly want to make the world a better place. But right now they can't, because the system has been built to keep the powerful powerful, and everyone just feeding their energy, their sweat equity towards the top.
It's a total disempowerment of who we are, who we were created to be. So much has been hidden from us and so much has been lost, including our spiritual connection to God through so many acts of violation and trespass throughout our life, and also the use of words, creating spelling over yourself and writing in cursive, even you're cursing cursive. It's just the level of deception is actually unreal. And you said we were never born free, and I was actually wondering the other day, what would it have been like to be born into a world where none of this ever existed? What would my life look like if I wasn't born into a delivery room, into this statutory, it's Freemasonic
absolute dream?
What would we be like? Would we be living in these houses the way we're living?
Break it down real quick. I mean, you've got tax, unlawful taxation, unlawful acquirement of assets throughout the world. You're speaking about 80% of the world's wealth that currently sits in 1% of the world's hands, because they're the guys that own the system. They own the system. So of course they have 80% of the world's wealth. So you're there working your dead-end job. You have no purpose. You have no nothing. You've got no pride for what it is you do. And life is really hard. Where's your motivation? Where's your inspiration? Because you're having to do things you really don't want to do. And you'd be lucky enough to touch a mere fraction of the 20% of the world's wealth that is actually able to circulate amongst the 99% of world's hands. So number one, you address this unlawful conversion, all of a sudden you've invalidated these service corporations, these governments, all of their activities, all these revenue collection agencies now need to return the money, all the land. You're talking about 80% of land that is owned by the system, 80% of wealth that is owned by the system. Now you're returning that. Oh my goodness, now there's abundance, now there's wealth. Now all of a sudden, you don't have these financial systems that are built to incur inflation. That is really, really, 8% inflation rates every single year, but the salaries are staying the same. Things are getting more expensive, but you're getting paid the same. Okay, now that abundance, remember, just imagine redistributing 80% of the world's wealth. Just think about that. Number two, think about the technology that's been suppressed. In the US, over 2,000 patents have been denied in the whole of America's history, right? These are technologies that have never, ever been able to see the light of day. I have a friend, she's a scientist, she created a perpetual battery. This is a battery that doesn't die. We're talking about perpetual energy. You're talking about a device that has the ability to go ahead and get rid of electrical running costs as well as fuel distribution costs. You know, now you're cutting the price of everything down by 80% because energy is not an issue. So you combine that with redistribution of wealth. Oh, my friends, I can't even imagine what that world looks like. To be honest with you, I can't tell you what exactly that world looks like, but it sure does sound good to me. It sure does sound better than the fact that they've shut down the world over a fake pandemic right now. And let me tell you something. I'm from South Africa. Before this even happened, we had a 30% unemployment rate. As this has happened, we have had 3 million job loss. This is the beginning of it. Okay, we've got 10 to 20 kids dying of starvation every single day in this country. We've got an unbelievable amount of corruption. We've got money that's being borrowed, billions by the IMF Bank. We've had billions being put into our military. Why do we need a military? We're not in war. It's because they're so scared of the people right now. And I'll tell you what, guys. You know, there's some. I'll stop there. But guys, this is so powerful. This is huge. This truly is biblical.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Chris, did you want to add anything to that?
No, like I said, I can say to everybody that when you know the truth, it is so simple. All of this is so simple. And as Jesse was talking about, there is this one truth wipes out all the corruption that has been placed upon it, because this is a foundational block of this. See, where the system has overplayed its hands over the last 100 years, especially, is that everybody in the world understands how the banking world works, how the, you know, how all these core infrastructures we have in place. And what's going to happen is when this truth comes out and is actually effectively implemented and executed around the world, it's going to be a hard reset through up all these corporations and the people. And what Jesse's talking about, I mean, how and Simone was talking to, what is this world going to look like? Wow. It's going to be something incredible, because we were all born into a system of slavery, but I can feel the freedom. I've had the freedom around me for a long time, and I wish this for all of my fellow man. It's something that we cannot look away from. This is literally the fight of our lives that we have before us here. And the only enemy really is ignorance. And I'm more than confident that my fellow man, from what we've put together here and pulled together here, they're going to understand simply what's gone on and the solution moving forward. It is an incredible time in our world. And like I said, it's these conversations that we're having. We're actually having a conversation here together with the world that should have happened a long time ago. Absolutely. Right? That our mothers, our parents should have talked to us when we came into this world, that this is what's going on. You love your fellow man. You know, this is the law of this land. You don't trespass against them, and you don't administrate another man's woman or property otherwise, and you don't breach a contract. That's the only three things there are in this world. So when you understand this colossal fraud and how these court systems have been working, it's going to give you, like I said, I'm hearing from people already around the world, as Jesse and Simone probably are, it's already affecting them, right? They're already seeing this light. People are going into court. They're going, you've given me so much strength now for child custody or whatever. Even with these initial talks we've had, people are being affected by it, and they're acting, which is beautiful to see. So that's all that has to happen. Is I know that once this knowledge is within the heart, minds, and souls of every man and woman in this world, because it's not, again, it doesn't matter what your history, your country comes from. We all come into this world paperless. We have nothing attached to us. And that's the position in which we are all accessing that public courthouse. My God, it's going to be beautiful. We are leading here. There's no question about it, right? This is, we don't mean to be ignorant, but this is a one-way communication right now. We're bringing you a verified truth that you must look at, you must understand, and you must engage with it. And when you do that collectively with all of us in this world, all of this deception and corruption is going to disappear.
And, you know, I like you actually bringing in what they've said. The language that they've used is the Great Reset. You know, you've seen it on the World Economic Forum website, and they put it out there plain for everybody to see, that this is what they are bringing in, ushering in under the guise of COVID-19, is this Great Reset, which is the dismantling of every nation. It's actually national sovereignty, the nationalism they've never wanted. They've ruined nationalism through introducing immigration into countries and disrupting cultures and societies over decades, 50, 60 odd decades now, and longer. And this guise of the Great Reset, which is, we're going to see this whole thing topple down. But at the same time, I actually see this as a great reset for us. This is the opportunity for us to reset it the way that we want to reset it. And that was very much the discussion that came out, that came out of the discussion yesterday at Hardwick House, which is, so I'm just going to say, because I feel like I can, yesterday we met with some great groups of people who are representing the Chartist movement, people who are representing the British Constitution, Action for Justice. We had the Common Law Courts. We had UK Column News.
Massive.
Yeah, we had so many people yesterday round a table. We had Louise from Save Our Rights UK, because she's very much looking at, okay, it's a UK focus, but we need to be aware that when this system comes down through the solution, the light that is being brought with this truth to open our public courthouses, restore our public courthouses, so we, the people, can get the justice, get the power back into our hands. We need the system behind that's going to be brought forward. So we were talking yesterday, not being the fourth, because they're talking about this being the fourth industrial revolution. We're talking about it being the sixth and final industrial revolution. So we're usurping them, and we're going ahead and we're saying, no, we are bringing back the common law, the Constitution, the common law, which is God's law. And even I said this yesterday, God is at the center of this. We are nothing apart from him. So, it was just amazing that there were so many godly people in that room, people who believe that this is more than just physical. This is a spiritual battle. And it was, those words were used yesterday amongst those people who love nature, who love God, who love their fellow man, and who want remedy and change for the people. And it was just so inspiring to be among that group and to be discussing this. And Earth United, this is what these guys are on board with this message, who are on board with this movement, because they know it's like the knife in the belly of the beast, and it will unlock a lot. So yeah,
that's another thing I want to say. This solution is not new. This is not new knowledge, guys. This has been around for ages. Chris has been, I can't imagine, Chris, your head 20 years of knowing how the system works, and you're just going mad. You're going crazy because everyone's going out referring to legal this, government that, la-di-da-di-da, when they don't realize that, wow, there's actually a really simple way out of this. It's so simple. And it baffles me at how simple this solution is, and how it's just a synchronicity that this is the time when everything's falling in place for people to actually listen. Because people are seeing, like, if you didn't think that evil people existed and controlled the planet, you definitely think that now, right? And now it's Chris has come, he's been on this train a lot longer than I have. I've just been accruing skills along the process to help Chris bring this truth to the world. And it really is so simple. And it has the ability to, as I said, and I'll say it again, because everyone must be aware of this, to invalidate governments, these private corporations masquerading as lawful governance systems, which they're not. They never have been. It's always been about money. You're nothing but a product. You're nothing but a number. Literally, when you're going to court, it's all about money. The lawyers, the judges, the advocates, they've all made an oath towards the bar. So even if you do have a lawyer who's representing you as a Maritime Admiralty product, he's only going to protect you so far until your interests clash with the interest of the court, clash with the interest of the bar, clash with the interests of the private corporation. Then they'll throw you under the bus because they have made an oath, not to you, the people. They've made an oath towards the private corporation that you call your country, whatever country it may be. So when you understand how the system works, how these jurisdictions works, land, air, water, jurisdiction of the land, jurisdiction of the air, jurisdiction of the water. Water is allowing this international system to transcend across borders, to transcend across regions, and to allow them to actually have control over the whole world. And when you understand how the judicial system works, you understand that it's no one service corporation working within their own level of sovereignty. No, they're all different franchises, right? Mm-hmm. And I believe the head office sits in Rome. Okay. and these are the
London. It's central London. It's the city of London. They all live, and even the Rockefeller lives over here, I think.
Well, remember that the Vatican
Gates.
bestows divine rights towards the monarch within the UK. So yes, Switzerland does work. This is why the Vatican have, what is it called? Their guard. They're protected by Swiss soldiers, right? Because it's all about banking at the end of the day, right? The Knights Templars were the ones that set up this banking system. They were the first people. But what happened was religion became more contemporary in the sense that it took more of a role sitting in the background, and it just reinvigorated and revitalized and repackaged itself to the point where we actually can't see at face value how the system works, where it came from, and how this law of commerce transcends across these borders, allowing these guys to have control over all of us. Do not make a mistake. Your country is not sovereign, right? And when you understand the jurisdiction of international sea, you understand that this is the legal, nonsensical, convoluted system that is allowing this evil control to have been perpetuated up until this day. And when we go ahead and we have these public court proceedings, what we're doing is we're holding people accountable for being complicit in perpetuating the system of mass-scale fraud that has been committed against each and every single one of you. My friends, please understand the importance of this message. Please understand that the time is running out. I'm going to be quite frankly honest with everyone. Time is running out, and it's up to everyone to take accountability and responsibility, because this is the world we're going into. It's not your government's job to take care of your region, your land, your children, your education, and everything. It is your job. And now it is time for us to finally take accountability, because true freedom is not free. It comes with taking responsibility and accountability. And this is my message. We need to be in this energy of taking ownership of ourselves and responsibility for not only our families and ourselves, but our fellow brothers and sisters, because this is the new consciousness we're moving into. It's about not only thinking about ourselves, but everyone else. It's so important, guys.
Yes. Someone, Jethro, I saw a comment. Jethro wrote, he wants a bit more information on timescales and how we're going to get these judges, or how we're going to get these criminals. Can we offer them anything, Chris, on that front?
No, like I said, this is a work in progress right now, but we've let everybody know simply that our action is we're looking to implement this in end of October, early November. That's the bottom line. So people need to understand right now that this is a war, and we do not give out all the information, but we're doing everything we can. That if you're signed up through our websites and the application that's coming out with Jesse, then you will understand, and you will be shared and given that information, that knowledge, which is required. It's our duty to make sure that you have that, obviously, when the time is right. Right now is not the time to be talking about, again, you're putting the cart before the horse here. You got to learn who you are first. You got to understand simply what it is that we're going to do on that day at that public courthouse, and how it eviscerates all the fraud that's within the system today. And it will restore everything to, like I said, this has never happened in our world before, and it's time. And the world needs to know these people are going to come at us. I did an interview 5 years ago, and if you go back and look it up online, A Planned Trespass Against the Mind of Man, the YouTube channel is one I just started initially. It's Christopher J. But I did this in an interview almost 5 years ago. It's September 15th will be 5 years. And you go back and you watch that, and you'll see that everything that I said then has now come to fruition. Okay, so there's a reason for why I knew what I was talking about then, and I've grown even tenfold since then, understanding the simplicity of this truth surrounding how we come together, access the courthouse, ride out and meet this corruption head on, the COVID-19, as well as restoring and taking all this corruption down simply. And you just have to know who you are and understand that trespass at birth, and the rest is so easy. Leave the court actions up to those of us. That's why you're going to meet in the coming weeks. You're going to meet the people that are going to be on point in these countries, right? You're going to get to meet them like you've met me here this evening, but on a very intimate level. You're going to understand what their backgrounds are, who the mettle of that man or woman is that's involved in this, that is doing this incredible, courageous work for our country and for our world, right? So this is, you have to be patient with us. It's we're all, the way I look at it is, like I said, my train left a long time ago, about a year and a half ago, to bring this forward to the world. But what's happening now is through the efforts and all the actions of Jesse and Simone and millions of people now around the world, hopefully, we're stopping along the way just briefly, and people are getting on the train in the capacity of a man or woman. And that train is now continuing, because it's a race. They've got a train, the evil side does, with this whole COVID-19, right? They've got an end game, and their thing is basically to take everything down, and we've got our train going to that courthouse. So the question is, who's going to get there first? Are they going to cause a war in this world? Are they going to crash the economy? These things are going to happen in the next few months. Most likely they could happen tomorrow. They can happen right now at the drop of a hat if they choose. And that's what this system has to do. They've got to crash the market now. Why? Like 1929? Because they don't have the body count, the mortality count supporting all of this draconian measures for shutting down the businesses. See, they had no right to do that. It was all based on a lie. And that's why we must address the COVID-19 thing first. Before any common law, we've got to bring that truth out into light, which we're going to do very powerfully collectively here in the near future. And then we're going to have millions of people know who they are. And like I said, it's that simple. So just be patient with us. Know that the good Lord is working through all of us and that we are committed. I mean, we're all putting our lives on the line. If anyone doesn't realize this right now, our lives are on the line for everything that we're doing here, because we are a direct threat to this evil that's been here for a very long time. But we plan on not standing alone. I don't care if they take me out, because by the time they take me out, if they try to, there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people around this world that will have understood the truth that I brought forward. And that's the most important thing. It's not about us. It's about this truth. And we've got to get this out there, and we're going to do it.
Well, so I just want to say one last thing. So we're actually trying to create the technology eventually to actually provide safety for people to keep track of, especially the core of these operations, because we care about everyone, but we also understand that this is a very dangerous game that we're playing. I also want to address another thing. I've seen in the comment the mention of a cult a couple of times. I just want to make you guys very clear that the only thing we need your help with is to actually support these court proceedings. After that, do whatever you like, please. Because at the end, because what true freedom means is that we're not going to be presidents. We're not going to be leaders that decide what rules and regulations you live by. No, we're leveling the playing field so that you as people in your consensus collectives can experience what true freedom is like. And true freedom is this community, ability to all come together and take responsibility for your direct environments. That's not up to us. The only thing we're trying to do is provide the solution, and after the solution, provide many more solutions. You know what I mean? We're not saying to people, well, look, you have to continue following us and you have to do this. No, guys, you need to understand we care so much about our fellow brothers and sisters, and we are doing everything we can to try to help the situation right now. So this is not an us thing. This is not an organizational thing. This is just us creating a vehicle, creating a platform that can help us push us. After that, guys, enjoy your freedom. Do whatever you like with it. Because remember, presidents exist in corporations, but we're not heading towards a world that is run by corporations. McDonald's has a corporation. McDonald's has a president. Banks have presidents. That's not the world we're leading towards. We're leading to a world where everyone has the ability to choose how it is they want to live their lives, whether it's on an individual or collective level. And this is so important,
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well said. Let me just summarize from in my language. I just say you guys are not only the catalyst but a huge enabler to unifying people in a really powerful way. And thanks to Simone's connections and bringing the network together, this is how it all comes together. And I can't wait to see those videos. Well, let's make them go mad, crazy. Let's get them out there, because we know the power of one video, don't we? You remember that Vodafone executive one? That one went absolutely ballistic. And I'm sure Judy Mikovic's one, when she came out with that damning evidence, it goes viral. It absolutely goes mad. So we know the power of that. But like you've very eloquently summarized tonight, guys, you've made it simple, you've made it easy to understand, and you made it so nice, simple action steps. We all just want to follow a simple action step. If you tell us what we can do, let's go and do it. I mean, we're all going to the town centers with our banners and our flyers. We can do more than that, and you're absolutely giving us that silver bullet. So I think it's a great moment to wrap up and say thank you for the message. We really, really appreciate all your work. The fact that you are putting yourselves out there and on the line, very humbling to be talking to you. And I'm sure in the chat room there are many, many people very, very happy to hear this message, and we'll make sure it gets out there. I'm going to cut it into sound bites, get little bits and pieces out there for you too. So, Simone? Did you want to
Yes.
add anything else?
Yes, if anybody hasn't yet already done so, you need to get yourself over to Earth United and subscribe to be a part of the local network. You need to put your country or your you need to put a town. You need to put a town or city or your postcode if you want to. You don't have to put a postcode, but at least put your town as a minimum. Otherwise, we can't currently connect you into a group. When we've got the app up and running, you'll do that yourself. You'll be able to put in your town. You'll naturally, you'll find it on the app. It'll be a lot easier. But at the moment, we're just working behind the scenes to connect you in to a chat room with everybody in your town. And everybody's coming in from various different groups. So it's not just Earth United. It's from a Warrior Cause. It's from Event 202. It's from Save Our Rights UK. It's from Stand Up X. It's from all these different groups that are currently mobilizing and moving and creating these ripples, not just in here in this country, but across the world. So I just want to encourage everybody to do that. Sign up, whether it's Event 202, a Warrior Cause, or Earth United. You will still come into the same place, and you will still get the same information. So please don't worry which one to choose, but just do them all if you want to. And also just to also say, whilst we've got Robin here, and talking about the COVID lie, Robin, why don't you tell us something that you're working on with Dave Murphy and a few others behind the scenes?
Yeah, absolutely. For those that remember the Globe Lie tour in the UK and across Europe, we did a 68-stop pan-European activism tour sharing the lie of the globe. And we hit many, many, many streets, many town centres. And we're going to replicate that, but in the UK, and badge it up as the COVID Lie tour. And we're unifying with Stand Up X, and we're now planning that itinerary. We've got the locations. We're just mapping the dates to those locations. The geography and the logistics has kind of been already organized. We're now getting van transfers printed up, leaflet templates designed, and we hope to be, I think the dates are, what did we say, mid yeah, we'll announce in due course. I don't want to misquote it just now, but it's coming up in the next 2 to 4 weeks, and we will be splashing that everywhere. So it's a great time again to start sharing.
I wouldn't mind making some flyers on behalf of Earth United to basically, because it's so important that, I mean, guys, it's so great that everyone's getting together and they're gathering and they're doing this, but you need a solution, guys. Otherwise, you're just getting together and you're giving these guys time to do whatever it is that they got cooked up next. So it's so important that people aren't only getting together, but they're discussing the solution. They're discussing, because guys, like, we are doing the best we can, but we've understood we need everyone's help. That's why we created Earth United in the way it is. As Simone said, it's a global thing, right? It requires everyone. So, but we need everyone to speak about this truth, speak about the solution. There's a solution, guys. It exists.
Yes.
And Chris, I don't know if there's any last final words you just want to touch, maybe on that or anything else.
Sorry, you're asking me? Yeah. So by all means, send me some flyer templates, Jesse. We'll make sure they go out on the tour, because that's a great idea.
I was with Dave Murphy yesterday, and he's backing the Earth United. So, flyers, leaflets, when they go out doing this activism, they will be bringing that in and sign up to this movement. This is going to be huge, So, yeah. We work together. We're as one. We keep our unique individual flavor, our mission, our statement, because this goes beyond just now. This is we think 5-10 years ahead. We need to be thinking as collectively as this further down the line, and yeah.
One little request, Chris. Last nugget of wisdom.
Yeah.
Last nugget of wisdom. Come on, Chris.
Last nugget of wisdom. Well, here's one we didn't talk about tonight. When you walk, again, the reason I've showed people how to correct your ID, and people now that are already within this corrupt court system, people are reaching out, trying to go in now and do battle with it. And God bless them for doing that. One of the most powerful things you can do when you go into this public court is, again, this is why you create your proper ID and you give that to the man or woman that's moving this court in the corrupt side, so that they are crystal clear on the capacity of who you are coming into that court. Doesn't matter if it's a child, a family court or whatever. You need to flip that court's jurisdiction to the common law side. And how you do that, a real quick way, like I say, when I go into the courtroom, I say it honorably to the man or woman asking questions to me. First and foremost, I require their name. And once they give them their name, I refer to them as Bob or Susie, whatever the name is, for the remainder of my time speaking with them, because I understand the capacity at which I am there. And the capacity is as the creator, not the created. And the created is that birth certificate. So that's a very powerful thing you can bring up when you're standing in a legal proceeding and say, is this a legal proceeding? You always ask questions. They're going to say, absolutely. You're saying legal doesn't apply to a man or woman. Oh, that's going to hit them. Try and get away from that. And then you'll say, are you looking for the created? And you hold up the birth certificate, or the creator, because you're the creator of all this. We, the people, when we came into this world, we created government, and all government was created to protect the property of man. It's that simple. So we're just restoring that has never been true in this world since we've come into it. And once that happens, I mean, it's unlimited. So I would just like to say thank you to everybody out there this evening. This is the beginning of something that's going to affect this world, hopefully, if they don't destroy it before we can get to it, and in a way that we can never imagine. This world is going to, consciously, we're these incredible beings, and yet we're on our knees still. We haven't evolved at all consciously. Why? Because of this foundational truth that's been hidden. And this is the linchpin. That's why it's so powerful. It unlocks everything, as Jesse was talking about, of all these technologies, of all these truths that have been hidden. No one is going to fear anymore to bring that out into the light for being, taken down in these court systems, because once we get this done, no man or woman ever again in this world is going to be trespassed upon by this type of evil and system that is out there today. That's it in a simple nutshell. And that is huge.
Thank you. I can't wait to cut this up into sound bites. Thank you so much. So many great nuggets into this session. Simone, I think we'll wrap up this episode, and wish the guys well. Thank you, everyone who's attended in chat. I hope you've enjoyed watching. And this episode will go out on all the podcasting platforms. That's iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Play. Do download it there so you can listen to it on your walk with the dog. So,
thank you, everyone.
So we wish you well, everyone. Thanks once again. Until probably this time next week. Have a great week, everyone. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you. Take care.
Godspeed.